Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for calling today's hearing and for the groups on both sides of the aisle who have, I think, some legitimate concerns here. My colleagues and I aim to protect the interests of everyday retail investors and foster a competitive capital market system that upholds market integrity and maximizes the opportunity for all Americans, including those Iowans in my district, not just to uphold our wealth, but to make sure that we are able to be successful in their long-term retirement planning and investment decisions. Since the 1990s, the cost of entering the U.S. public market has doubled, leading to a two-thirds decrease in the number of companies that have chosen to IPO. In contrast, our foreign adversary, China, has seen a significant IPO increase, contributing to its global competitiveness. I would offer that the rogue SEC and its overregulation has as many as 52 rulemaking proposals pending, none of which deal with one of their three missions, facilitating capital formation. Instead, this SEC before us has prioritized increasingly costly regulatory and disclosure obligations, making our U.S. capital markets less attractive. So let's start from the bottom up here. In our overall perspective, the SEC rules not only are overly burdensome, particularly to small businesses and main streets, as I shared with Mr. Scott here, concerns about our family farms, our local ranchers, but is also allowing foreign-owned proxy companies, which make up over 97% of the market space, to overwhelmingly have a voice in America's retirement portfolios. And as we've seen, politically motivated portfolios have, in general, a 14% less return on investment than those that are market-driven. So, Mr. Girding, in your opinion, will small businesses like the ones I just highlighted that are not registered with the SEC and have never had any business dealings with the SEC be compelled to collect and submit information to the BDC as a result of the proposed Scope 3 requirements?
Congressman, the climate risk disclosure proposal, again, only requires public disclosure from publicly registered companies. That being said, we have heard companies express comments in the comment file on the scope of the Scope 3 requirement, including impacts.
And wouldn't you agree that
on
those
small
businesses would face additional costs because of this new regulation?
Congressman, the climate risk disclosure proposal includes an extensive economic analysis of all aspects of that proposal.
Would they be paying more as a result of having to meet your regulatory requirement that you're throwing out?
As I mentioned, the economic analysis, what we often call the EA.
Mr. Girding, we recognize that there will be an increased burden on small businesses, particularly the first time out there, correct?
The economic analysis solicited comments on
I understand you asked
that
for their
economic
feedback,
analysis.
and they've said overwhelmingly that it will create an increased burden for them. I want to move to my next question since you're non-responsive on the first. In your opinion, how many of our rulemaking proposals are specifically focused on capital formation?
Congressman, all of our rule proposals focus on all aspects of our statutory
So then I want to follow up with a speech given by then SEC Commissioner Allison Lee, who argued in favor of highly malleable interpretations of the SEC's material standard. She said, "The idea that the SEC must establish the material for each specific piece of information required to be disclosed in our rules is legally incorrect, historically unsupported, and inconsistent with the needs of modern investors." Do you continue to share former Commissioner Lee's views regarding material? Yes or no?
Congressman, I don't have that speech in front of me. I would know that any time a commissioner speaks or an acting chair speaks, she or
You've
he...
supported her in the past. Have you changed your position on this?
The view of materiality that my division follows is, as I mentioned to one of your colleagues earlier, the same definition of materiality that the Supreme Court has articulated. That's the definition that animates and guides all of our rulemaking.
Regulation SK requires that companies provide a discussion of the material factors that make an investment speculative or risky. Yes. My final moments here. Can you explain why less than 2 months on the job, Chair Gensler sought to overhaul the 2020 adopted rule, issued a redo proposal, changing from Chairman Clayton's tenure?
Congressman, as I noted to one of your colleagues earlier, there are important provisions of the 2020 rule that remain in effect. Proxy voting advisory businesses.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I yield the
Gentlemen,
remainder of my time.
Gentleman's time has expired.